Hey bass anglers, today we're going to talk about optimizing bass catches in the spring when things get difficult. So one of my favorite baits to use is kind of an obscure oldie, especially as swim baits are concerned, but this bait and what you can pair it with are going to help you catch fish in subtle situations when the bite kind of dies down in the springtime. So let's talk about that lost relic. So the bait I like to use is a swim bait from Optimum Baits, and it comes in a different size, a couple different sizes. Optimum Baits swim bait, right? So it's right here, and I get the Golden Shiner Optimum swim bait, and I get it in two sizes. One of them is, oh, I don't know, it looks like it's like a 5-inch, and the other one's about a 2.5, 3-inch version. So I get a couple of different sizes for it. And this Optimum swim bait is really good paired up in 3 different situations that I want to talk to you about in the springtime. And the first one is using a ball head jig. I'll get a tungsten ball head jig from Reaction Tackle, and I keep an assortment of them in this handy dandy worth mentioning container that I'll throw in the link below. I just got that off of Amazon, but it really keeps all of my tungsten jigs in order and easy to access while I'm fishing. But anyways, I keep an assortment of these Reaction Tackle ball head jigs, and I'll use those in 2 of these situations. One is just throwing it alone. So I'll take that Optimum swim bait, the smaller version, and I'll pair it up with a tungsten jig of the appropriate size. And I'll put a link in the description to a range of sizes, but you get the size that you can throw, the smallest size that you can throw for the given wind, right? That's the main thing. But this Optimum bait, and there's all kinds of other swim baits with different, you know, the Kitex and all of the newer style ones, but this one still has a great motion. And not only does the tail paddle, but the bait kind of swings side to side. And a lot of the minnow bait fishing, jig minnow bait fishing bass fishermen in recent months here have been trying to impart is that wobbling action. And this bait does that nicely, just reeled straight in on a ball head jig. The shape of its body, the shape of its tail, the weighting of it, and they're pretty durable baits as well. But it's got a cool action. So I definitely use it on a ball head jig, and that's methodology number 1. The second way that I use it is pretty sneaky, in that it's a good technique to use probably in and around the post spawn when things get kind of tough. The fish have come up and spawned, and now they're out, and they're hard to catch. But the trick is I'll use a Finesse style buzz bait. And I'm not using a giant buzz bait like a lot of bass anglers use. I'll use this small 1/8 ounce Finesse buzz bait, and I'll typically get them with a black head and a gold blade, a black head and a black blade, and a white head and a gold blade, and I'll put that smaller Optimum minnow on the back. And this thing has a real subtle disturbance in the water with that small Finesse blade and its size, and then with the paddling tail, it really does call your attention to a group of small minnows on the surface, in and around the surface. Fry garters will destroy this. Females will come and eat this thinking it's forage, post-spawn forage, small targets. But this thing is really effective in the springtime. So look for and I'm not even pitching a brand. I'll see if I can track down what I was using here and put it in the description below. But find yourself a Finesse 1/8 ounce buzzbait and get it in a couple of blade colors, a couple of head colors, and pair it up with Optimum baits. And this is a great one to use when everything else is struggling and really you haven't got that wacky rig bite developed yet, or you got one of those calm, weird days where things are really tough. This little buzzbait can produce bites and is a tournament kind of panic bait for me too. If nothing else is working and I can't figure the system out in that period of time post-spawn, I'll break out this little Finesse buzzbait, and it's paid dividends. So buzzbait is the second way. And then the third way that's highly effective for Optimum baits and these swim baits is using an A-rig. And I have this brown dog A-rig, and I'll put a link to in the description below to this particular one that I have. And it's a 3-hooker because where I'm at in Wisconsin, we can only use 3. It's a Finesse style one, so it's not massive. You can handle this on any medium heavy bait casting gear, no problem. I typically throw it on braided line so I can stay in connection and control it. But this thing is really nice. It's got a decent spread on it, and I'll pair up those same ball head jigs, putting 2 of the heavier ones on the bottom so it kind of keels it and keeps it from rolling. I'll put a smaller one in the middle, and then I'll even dye the tail of the middle one chartreuse on this particular A-rig, or any A-rig, so that as the fish are following what they think is this little school, they'll nail the one in the middle. They'll actually target the one that's a little further back and got a chartreuse tail. It's also got 2 additional slots that I put willow leaf blades on because I can't have jigs and hooks on them. So I'm using a 3-bladed brown dog Finesse style A-rig. Great to put those Optimum swim baits on. So I know that there's a lot of new fads in swim baits and a lot of new swim baits out there, but going back to kind of an old school bait that really does a good job mimicking small bait fish, and 3 different approaches to how to use it in the springtime can get you bit when other things aren't working and while the bass are forage related. So get yourself a couple of sizes, give it a try, and let me know how you did. I don't think you'll be sorry. Thanks for checking me out. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.